Hold on.
No, we don't have time, dude. We got to just go live.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. All right. This is the inaugural episode. I don't even know if this podcast has got a name yet, but this is the first episode. And Taylor, my daughter's not sleeping well. This episode might end real quick too.
Yeah, sort
But
of.
really, I don't know if this is the pod that's going to be branded as Side League, or if it's going to be a pod under a different brand name
Give it
presented by
that.
this main. Could be that, and it also could be the main sponsor. Could be Side League, which is what we're here to talk about today. So I first want to kind of give a little bit of the origin story of why we're recording this episode right here, and I think it all starts back. Honestly, 3 or 4 years ago, I started a group chat called Inventions, Marketing, and Hot Takes. Which, how would you characterize the group chat just in general over the last few years that you've been a part of it?
Think like a group of college friends that like expanded to like 30 to 50 range worth of people, like a lot of people, and just expanded off of if somebody had any type of business interest in their life, or had, just sparkling hot takes, uh, they were invited.
Okay. And how many phone numbers do you have in the group chat?
I have probably like 15 to 20 of them.
Okay. Of the like 30 or 35 or whatever it is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say probably like 50%.
Okay. So, and how often do you engage in the content that's being sent into that group chat?
Uh, it depends. Sometimes I would say most time, honestly, I have it muted. But you see it pop up across the screen.
Okay.
It's just going pretty frequently with like 35 to 50 people in it. And so when you
Mm-hmm.
see something that kind of sparks your interest, it engages you, you know?
Yep. Yeah. So that kind of takes us to the most recent data point of why we're here today. The other day, I was playing golf with my dad, and the group that I was playing played really well, and we actually won some money, which involved me taking home a $20 bill. And when I got home in my wallet, I was looking at a $20 bill and had this thought like, oh, it'd be kind of interesting just to think about where this $20 could grow to, or what it could grow to if you really put like all of your energy or efforts into it.
Mhm.
And I started kind of teasing out the idea a little bit more. And at that time, I was thinking like, oh, that what would be interesting is if you had like kind of a competition between your friends of, hey, you get your $20 to grow as much as you can, I get mine. And then there was kind of this idea of like, fantasy football, but for side hustles was kind of like the general idea. And so I'm actually going to pull up the text here just so that we all can read it, just as proof to kind of give some of the origin story to this episode and what we'll eventually talk about here. But it was this: essentially, get a ton of people to do a contest of starting the year with $20 and see who can turn it into the most amount of money by any legal means necessary. I bet you'd have a combo of people do side hustles, gambling on sports, poker, buying and selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace, Depop, and then eventually get big enough that you invest money into stocks, or better yet, you become shareholder in other people's side hustles that are also in the game. Who's in? That was the text that I sent. And so I want to hear your thoughts about it in just a moment, but I basically sent that, and honestly, in that group chat, got a ton of love. I think there was like 11 likes, which is a lot for that group chat because a lot of different ideas get put in. Go
Yeah.
to bed that night, wake up that night at like 4 in the morning, and try to go to sleep again after I wake up. And I can't stop thinking about this fantasy football idea for side hustles. And just as like a side note, I've thought for a long time the irony of like how much time people spend on fantasy football. I mean, I like the NFL. I don't watch it very much. I don't have a fantasy
I spend
football
a lot of
team.
time on fantasy football. So
So, but the thing about
we're
like
not
fantasy
making fun of
football is
people here.
the thing about fantasy football though is like it cracks me up that like people embrace this idea of like I participate in a fantasy, something that's not real, and always wondering like what would it look like if you actually spent fantasy hours towards like a real thing that you were working towards.
That would be
And so I kept thinking about it over and over again from like 4 to 5 a.m. Can't fall asleep. I literally go downstairs to go and to try to get my mind off of things because I can't stop I can't stop thinking about it. So I actually go downstairs. I'm reading this book called The Four Loves by C.S. Lewis. I was planning on reading it at 5 a.m. And I end up getting a text from Taylor at, I think it's like 11:25 p.m. that night. So while I'm sleeping, and dude, we've texted so much in the last 7 days, it's going to take me a while to find it. But essentially, my understanding is that, was it the minute that I sent the idea you'd been thinking a lot about it too, or was it later in the night?
Yeah, I had been thinking about it for a little bit. Isabel had left for the weekend.
Okay.
So my wife Isabel went to Denver for the weekend with a friend, and I sat down after I dropped her off at the airport and was just trying to like find something to do. I think I watched like an episode of South Park or something like that, and was like, okay, this is boring. And yeah, my mind was just stirring on the. It had been stirring on the idea for a bit, but then I think after being bored of watching TV for a couple minutes, then I was like, that would kind of open the door to it. So,
So here's the text thread at 11:25 p.m. You text me, Bones, I'm sold on this idea, which for all of our listeners around the world, like that's a nickname people call me a lot. They call me Bones. Bones, I'm sold on this idea. A minute later, you clarify the $20 thing. Then he sends me a text 10
we got
minutes
a lot
later.
of ideas
I need to share a thought with
about
you on it. Then you say, TLDR, I think I could build us out an app that we could play on this and iterate it as we go. And then at 2 in the morning, you send me a text that says going to bed. And it is a link with a functioning prototype of the app that at this time was just titled the $20 game. And you said, if you want, you can make an account and you can do this and it'll make it like you downloaded the app. So basically you download this, you access the link on Safari on your phone, download it to the apps,
for
to
anybody.
the home screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Then you text me 20 minutes later. You still have not gone to bed. And you say, I'm so sorry for all the text, but this is how my brain works. I think an interesting rule is if you follow an income stream, anyone has the right to offer to invest in someone's income stream. And you kind of go on with some of the other ideas. I text you at 5:11 a.m. So I come down to get my mind off of this side hustle fantasy league idea. And I text at 5:11, all caps, dude, I had the exact same idea. I hadn't even read your text and literally lost sleep over this thought. I genuinely came downstairs 2 hours before I normally would because I couldn't fall back asleep. So that really kind of led to this. We actually ended up creating a group chat with like 4 or 5 others from that inventions marketing and hot takes group chat. We called it the Side Hustle League or the $20 game. Started building it, and you basically made this deal that you're like, all right, I'm my first side hustle that I'm going to pursue is the actual app itself called the $20 game, I think is what it was called at the time.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
immediately am like, I want to invest my $10 of my $20. We kind of negotiated offline so I can become a minority shareholder, have a board seat. I'm an angel investor of this. And we eventually ended up kind of coming up with a logo and the name of the app we're calling SideLeague, which has a twofold meaning. Side for obviously the side hustles, but side league as it relates to it's the side league to your main league, namely fantasy football. That was kind of the origin story of it. So that's just how your brain works. Like when you can't get an idea off your head, you just have to build the thing until it's like a functioning prototype.
Yeah, I mean, I also just like if we're gonna spend some time doing something, like might as well build something to make it a little bit easier, you know? I mean, the whole thing's a little bit funny. Like if you don't have like the whole idea of a side league or, you know, this whole $20 game, whatever we want to call it, I think it doesn't function well without community. Like
Mm-hmm.
building building a business with $20 just is like a dumb idea in and of
Mm-hmm.
itself. Like you want more capital, you want something else, but you're going to need more to get something going. But I think the constraint works well when you're playing it as a game together.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was thinking about it, I was like, man, what like imagining how much harder fantasy football would have been back in the day having to like call your friends and talk about it versus being able to like see what is happening live in an app. And so it just
Mm-hmm.
became, you know, like this idea right here just became okay, not a very complex thing to build, would
Mm-hmm.
be easy enough to build, and my wife was out of town. All three things happening, converging on the same weekend, and that's how it kind of came to be. But
So, I mean, I think it's fair to say that this episode, whatever we're calling this, I mean, you are the CEO and founder of this app. I'm the outside angel investor. You started with $20. Why don't you just kind of walk through some of the numbers of let's walk first through your current portfolio of your side league. Like,
yeah,
what do you currently have to your name right now? The income streams. What remaining balance do you have of the 20?
yeah. So, like to give a little bit of an idea of how Side League works, you have every player can have a set of income streams, right? So like most likely you're going to invest in one income stream because you have $20 and getting a bunch of income streams going with $20 is going to be a little bit tougher. But one of the reasons we did multiple income streams is you might have to scale that $20 before you can do your main thing. And this is
Mm-hmm.
probably, I'll say if I fail this season, well, it's probably from a million reasons about failing, and I've never had a really full-fledged business. So if I fail, that's the only reason why. No, one of the biggest mistakes I've already made is I think if I were to do it again, I would take that $20 and do some small flipping to get it to $50. But I realized very quickly I pigeonholed myself instantly because I just went and built an app and I really wanted a domain and I needed extra cash. So $20. The domain that I bought was $28, and that's where I like the
You went and did a capital round.
yes I did a I did a as a seed round. Yeah, as a seed round with like could be either the most impressive seed round of all time in terms
Hmm.
of within the amount of time from idea to raising $10, so minutes to dollars could be an impressive number. Probably not actually. I just bet there's YCOM founders out there who
Hmm.
came up with an idea and were sitting next to a billionaire when it happened. But uh, it most likely is going to like could go down on paper as the stupidest investment monetarily of all time. But we had worked together on deals in the past, and part of why you take investment is for the money, which I needed because I only had I only had $20, so and the URL was $28, and I'm not settling for another URL. Side note,
Hmm.
my personalysis, little personality thing, like my number one skill is moving fast or working fast, something like that. It's identified, and I'm like, well, that's not a skill. That's just doing. Anyway, shut up.
And one of your weaknesses is remembering actually what the skill is. It's like
Yeah,
moving fast or something
my,
like
my
that.
weakness is remembering anything, but I'm very, very fast. Not in real life, but just like make quick decisions. It doesn't feel like a strength. Anyway, I don't even know where we're. Oh yeah, yeah. So I needed a little bit of money, and I wanted it to be SideLeague.app because it sounded good and it sounded fun, and so I needed to raise. So I did a round of raising, and oh yeah, that's where I was going. The whole, some of it is about the money, but also you look for investors that are going to bring something. And so I am trapping by allowing Trent to invest half of his money in this game. Now he is invested in this game
Hmm.
in my business, which means he only has $10 to do anything else. So inadvertently, not only did I screw myself by buying that expensive name, but I also took half of Trent's money and tied it up in mine. So it was a 33% investment, but I also now have 50% of Trent's attention in this game.
Very true. That's exactly true, and that's why I was the one that initiated this recording to try to get the CEO of Side League on here. I don't even know,
I
never
think
used
that
this
wasn't going
platform,
so well.
and unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have to hang up here. I'm looking at the monitor. It looks like my daughter's waking up, so I got to go
No
up there
worries,
right
no
now.
worries. It's good.
But I do think this, maybe as I'm going to kind of do an Irish goodbye to you and just leave and go upstairs, and eventually I'll have to come back down and end the recording. But I think it would be good for listeners that are still new to Side League for you to kind of walk through maybe just a little bit of your vision of where you see the app going, of like some of the different ways of what you'd see, not only the things that people do with their time and their resources, but also even thinking about the opportunities that it might bring to communities, to individuals, and even to the different age demographics. Some of the ideas that we've talked about, but just as a shareholder, I want to give you the platform uh, to kind of share your vision for the company. And I think, like true to the side league fashion, this is not a very polished episode right now. You're going to hear noises of our wives working in the background, baby monitor. I'm going to leave right now, and it's just going to be Taylor for the last section of it. But that's kind of the nature of it. Is we're going to be kind of failing forward, trying to kind of put our best foot forward, knowing that we can't wait for perfection. Otherwise, we would never begin at all. So Taylor, why don't you kind of finish the pod just talking about a little bit of the vision of Side League, and when you're done, you can just be done, and eventually, I think I'll edit it up to your last stopping point. So.
Perfect. I'll close this out. It'll be amazing.
And hey, make sure you also talk about how many currently users we have, leagues, you know, and some of your goals that you have for the next couple of weeks. Because if we're going to be dropping these every so often, how important is that to kind of follow the metrics?
All right. I wasn't prepped on any of this, so here's
Got to mute myself.
I'm gonna go through. See you, Trent. I'm gonna go through three different things here. I was putting it together in my mind. I'm gonna talk through some of the why we built it. So thinking about some of the community stuff, thinking through some of the like features maybe that we have processed and where this could go and where it could get to. And then the third thing would be, I think, kind of the community side of it. So, I don't know if this is going to be able to be edited because I don't think super fast on the fly. So, hopefully it is. Yeah, the first why we built it and kind of some of the vision. As I was thinking about this, oh man, I really hope this can be edited a little bit. We'll start with community. So, community side of it. I think it's fun. Like, building a business has been fun. Trent and I have built a business before. You could call it a business. We're in the midst of making it a business, but it's not maybe quite there yet. So I think it is a fun thing, but it's also a really hard thing. And I think our school and everything teaches us that you have to get straight A's. You have to get, for me, straight B's and C's. But you try not to fail as much as you can. And I think that that's a fine thing, but ultimately, like when you get to the business world, when you get to actually doing things, you just kind of got to take a chance. I actually posted a video about Mark Rober. He does this. It's a really good. It's a really good TED Talk on what he calls the Super Mario effect, and so it's this idea of he slowly walks throughout the TED Talk of translating a work keyboard to a video game and how they're so similar. You're pressing buttons, you're trying to accomplish a goal, but in work we feel awful every time we fail, and we beat ourselves up, and it's hard, and we have just such a bad mindset about it. But in video games, like, the whole point is you go over and over and you find so much joy in it. And if you just like break them down to their core, you're typing buttons, but what's the point? Well, the point of both of them is to accomplish an outcome, right? You're trying to do something. Unfortunately, in work, we have, I think, a distorted mindset on work, and we just think that it sucks, and we talk about it sucking all the time, and it takes a lot of our life, and we have to make money, and so we just choose to view it in a certain way. But in the video game, like, it's something that we enjoy doing, right? I think our mindset affects, basically what I'm trying to get to here is our mindset affects the outcome of how much we enjoy doing something or don't enjoy doing something. So um, with that, I think I'll blend that into the community side of things. So with that, with some of the AI stuff that we're starting to see come out, I'm like, I think it's easy to look around and say, what is the future? What's the next white collar job? I think very early on in the white collar stuff, it became prompt engineering, and I think very quickly that faded. But I think what I see is a generation of people who were told, "Go code, go get these white collar jobs, product manager, code, etc." And a lot of those are kind of transforming, you know. And so when I think about like the real deep why of side league, I think, man, it would be cool to help to transition people into seeing value in the world and going and coming up with a solution that people are willing to pay for. Because I think, honestly, we're going to have to move that way more and more with the way that society's going. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think you have people who can do more with less with some of these AI tools. And so why not embrace that? Why not push and make a game version of how we can do that? So that's some of the hope with Side League. The other hope is like it's just fun to do things together. We know that fantasy football is fun. We know like people get in group chats and all these other things together, and build community over doing something together. And I think it is so brutal. Like building a business is so hard, and you're going to fail over and over and over again, like we were talking about earlier. And so to have an outlet for that failure and a group to laugh about it with and enjoy it with. Like I've been making TikToks all week, and I'm so in my own head about it because it feels like such a flop and such a failure. And then I hop on the call with Trent, and I'm like, we're doing it together. We're having this call, and it's so much more fun. And I get to remind myself that I'm not that important. It's not that big of a deal, you know. So I think just doing it in community is a big deal. So yeah, why we're doing it, community, and then just where it could go. You know, I mean, we've talked about some features. Maybe we get to some of the where it could go next time. We've talked about some features that we could build out. I'm actually doing I think I'm going to do a TikTok series on user suggested features and trying to build it out that way. But we've got some long term aspirations of where it could go if it actually took off. But for right now, it's just, you know, how do you have fun with friends and build a community game around making money rather than just staring at the TV with your jaw dropped about some pass that somebody caught that you're going to forget next week. So,
Yeah, I think it's an interesting dynamic to think through the amount of money that is being spent just purely out of consumers. Like there's like a whole social generation of people that have been addicted to different media platforms that actually spend their money purely on consumption of things that they actually aren't contributing to the world. And so, like, I think there's almost a manifesto sort of with Side League of like, what would it look like if it basically started a social movement of like, no, let's, you know, if we are made in the image of God, and part of that is being part of that's being a creator, like let's take some of that purpose that we were given when we were created to kind of reflect our creator by creating. And
yeah.
part of that is just like you're talking about is going to be failing in the process, and us kind of destigmatizing that. And I'm totally fine with us kind of talking about features and stuff at later episodes. I just think like for now, you know, as it relates to this, we've talked about it being kind of like a fantasy football league for side hustles. So whether that's you and you've got some friends that you have some different things that you're passionate about, that you're like, man, I'd like to really go for dropping an album. I really would like to go for selling some of the clothes that I've been wanting to make. I would really like to go for starting some sort of business venture that I've been thinking about for a long time, to kind of have some camaraderie with some visible parameters of success. Certainly not that profit is the only one of those, but there's like a time frame. You've got some good sorts of competition around it. We basically are creating like customizable incubators for all these different ideas, and it can be less intimidating in that environment than like just kind of like a blue ocean or like a giant, with no parameters. of what to do. And so the thing that I'm honestly looking forward to is thinking about, obviously there's going to be people like you talked about that are post grads, white collar jobs, diversifying their income streams. But I think like one of the reasons I invested my $10 was thinking through all of the different age demographics. Like I would love to see kids in the neighborhood spend a summer just like in a side league. They're just like, dude, let's grind this summer. Like, and it starts with the lemonade stand, right?
Yeah.
But then eventually it's like, let's actually go and get some like market research on the problem. That's a big deal that we're going to spend our minds to. I actually heard, I don't know if you saw this, that Palmer Luckey, I think is his name. I might have that name wrong. Founder of Anduril and also of Oculus. I think that's his name. Palmer Luckey, Lucky Palmer, Palmer Luckey. I think that's his name. Yeah, we'll have our producer look it up right now. And he talked about like as you get older, starting a business or an idea is just incredibly difficult. You've got your attention's divided. You've got a wife. You've got kids. You've got other responsibilities. You got a home. But when you're a kid, like you have all of the time in the world, and you have like this childlike faith to kind of like pursue those ideas. So I would just love to see, like quite honestly, I'm sure this is obviously not live, but whoever ends up recording this, like I would just love to see if anybody has a teacher that is in control of whether it's a math classroom, it could be some sort of economics class. I would just love to see students do it for a semester just to see kind of what happens. And obviously like SideLeague currently could be used, hypothetically with fake money. And it also could be used with real monetary value. And I imagine a lot of parents would be very intrigued about the idea of like, I would love to pay seed money for my kids and their friends to start something or to compete against one another, whether they team up or not. Because really, at the end of the day, a lot of ventures, like I think it's something crazy. Like the success rate of venture funds is something like for every 10 investments, you have one good one, right? And the statistics might be even much lower than that.
Yeah, probably.
So to find a winner, you got to take a lot of shots.
Yeah.
And so profit really isn't the end goal. It's really the reps of like the willingness to kind of be embarrassed, the willingness to fail forward is like the thing that I'm most excited for to see it pop up. So yeah, I mean, right now, the way that we have it, similar to fantasy football, it's like you have the main rules, which is going to be the venture has to be legal, and that would include whatever your state and federal tax reporting is, obviously. And then, you have like whatever your minimum cap is of money. We said $20, but there's not a reason why a group couldn't do 50 as their starting seed money, or $100, right? Yep. And it even could be post grads that have an idea together and they raise the wager to 10 grand, right? Of like, we're going to start with that. That's going to be the money that we're going to compete with. And the other rule is that you can't sell existing assets to kind of add to the capital. Eventually, you're going to have to raise outside money and all that stuff. But for now, you can only use the assets that you currently have. The example I used in like that original LinkedIn post I gave was you can use the guitar you own to play music publicly for tips, but you can't sell the guitar you own to get more money. Just because you have to kind of start right away with this idea of producing an idea. And I think it's fair to say all of the rules are kind of house rules, similar to fantasy. This rule's different. This rule's different. Like, I mean, that's kind of the name of it. Like, I don't even really know how to use this podcasting app. Like, we're still learning how SideLeague goes. And I think eventually we'll get a league of commissioners or, group chat with commissioners together, and they're going to share their ideas. And we will, kind of make updates in the same way that platforms make software updates. We're going to make game updates or league updates of like, no, this is a rule that you have to do to test. So this takes us out to that 30-minute mark. I think my daughter is asleep officially, but any final words? I mean, Taylor, can you talk at least about the metrics of who's all using, not who, but like the numbers of how many people are on the platform right now? How many leagues are there? Is there anybody that you don't know that started using the platform?
Yeah, for sure. Let me pull up. Sorry, I got right past my light here. I've got my database. So let me just get the most up-to-date numbers here.
I'll say right now, I don't even know what, genuinely do not know what even file this will be producing. If it's an MP4, MP3. So this might be on Spotify, it might be on YouTube, it might be on LinkedIn. We definitely need at least, as somebody who'd be itching for like a $2 dividend right now to get my 10 to 12, the pod's going to need sponsors. So if you want us to start sponsoring your company for this pod, let us know. You got the metrics pulled up?
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, so
Fire
we
away.
got 17 users. I do think one's a double user, but at least one, two, three, four people that I've never met before in my life. I don't know them. I've asked Trent if they know them, and they're just ready to rip. They're excited. They're ready to go. So one of them, yeah. So one of them, there's technically five, but one of them I think was a double user. So, and then we've got a public league going. So for anybody to join, anybody who wants to join, and then it looks like 3 or 4 other leagues right now. So,
Okay.
get some initial signups, initial traction.
I think would you say it's fair to say a good closing note would be, as you start your league or you spread the word on, whether it's your kids, your family, your neighborhood, your classroom, your roommates, your friend groups, or whatever it might be, as you have updates of how you've kind of going from 0 to 1, send those updates, like reach out to Taylor, so that way we can help kind of inspire other people with the ideas of how they're kind of taking it from one level to the next level to kind of pursue those ventures.
Yeah.
Any final words, man?
I was just gonna say, if you want to send any of that over, you can send it to thesideLeague@gmail.com. And
Do you own that domain, Gmail?
yeah, I own Gmail. Yeah. No, I do not. Unfortunately, or else SideLeague would have taken off a long time ago. So yeah, you can send something there. You can find us on socials, LinkedIn, whatever you wanna find us on. I've got a horrible TikTok following that I'm trying to monetize, but it's not gonna work.
Keep going, dude. Keep going. What's the
No.
what's the name of this? What's the name of this pod? What did we decide on? Fall forward or fail forward?
I don't know. I like both of those. Fail forward.
I feel like we should pick one as the last
Yeah.
thing we say in here. What is it?
Let's fail forward. I think it's all about failure.
Okay.
I think it's got to be, because it's the only way to learn, And if you're not failing, then you're probably not pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and so thus, you're not going to move forward. So fail forward, baby.
An ironic way to end is we're naming this podcast "Fail Forward." Ironically, knowing that might be a failure, we have to move forward if we find out right after the recording if that is the name of a podcast.
There's another
So,
podcast called Fail Forward.
all right, we're signing off, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on this podcast that I don't think I will be the host of. I feel like it's got to be you. You're the founder.
I don't know. I just rambled for 25 minutes. We'll see.